Welcome to Suthichai Live English. Former Prime Minister Thaksin is facing his trials and tribulations, which are multiplying day by day. Two high-profile cases have more or less sunk his political fortune overnight. The Supreme Court's ruling on the 17.6 billion baht Shin Kop tax case and the Attorney General's decision to appeal the lèse majesty Article 112 case, both of which came on the same day, 2 days ago. Experts and politicians suggest that these legal maneuvers are probably, in the end, going to obstruct his political future, especially his Pheu Thai party's performance in the upcoming election, which is scheduled for early next year. That means the Pheu Thai party will be undermined. Its momentum and financial resources will shrink tremendously. Despite the emotional distress and political uncertainty faced by Thaksin and his family, his children have declared that they are willing to fight on. But today, former Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra, Thaksin's daughter, after visiting his father in the prison, suggested that she herself is now distancing herself from politics. And Thaksin told her during today's visit that he is very stressed and he hopes that justice will be done in his case. Let's get Ping to dive into Thaksin's trials and tribulations and see how his political future and fortune eventually will fare from now on. Hi, Ping.
Welcome to Suthichai Live English. Today, we're diving into a political earthquake that's shaking Thailand to its core, and right at the center of it all is one man, Thaksin Shinawatra. This is a story about power, about family, and about a political dynasty that's been pushed right to the edge.
You know, in just a few days, two huge legal blows hit former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, and bam, it created this sudden, intense crisis for his entire political machine. Just when it looked like things were maybe finally clearing up for him, the whole game just changed completely.
The crisis really landed like a devastating 1-2 punch, delivered right through the legal system. And the real twist here? These were two totally separate cases that Thaksin and his team probably thought they had on their side, and then suddenly, they were turned against him, right in the middle of him serving out his prison sentence.
What is so shocking about this is the complete 180. I mean, look at the first case. A committee had already voted 8-2 not to appeal a royal insult charge against him. But then, the Attorney General just single-handedly overruled them. In the second case, a massive tax dispute, Thaksin had already won twice in lower courts, and then the Supreme Court just flips the script. These aren't just minor legal problems. These are stunning, jaw-dropping turnarounds.
And this tax bill, it's not exactly small change. We're talking 17.6 billion baht. Let that sink in. That's more than $500 million US. This staggering amount comes from that historic sale of Shin Corp shares. A financial hit this big isn't just about the money, no way. It's a powerful political message being sent loud and clear.
So here's where it gets really interesting. The crucial point is that the timing of these decisions is just as important as the decisions themselves. And to really understand why, you've got to look at the calendar.
This timeline just lays out how high the stakes really are. So Thaksin can get special parole starting March 8th, 2026. And the next big election, it's expected just 3 weeks later. So by bringing these court cases back to life right now, his parole is suddenly in serious danger. And that has fueled all sorts of speculation that this is a deliberate plan to block him from being released right before a critical election.
And the consequences? Well, they rippled out immediately, hitting both his family and his political party, Suthichai, with the force of, well, an earthquake.
This quote from his daughter, Penthongta, really brings the emotional toll home, doesn't it? She says her father was heartbroken and hurt, but also that he's resolute. You can tell the family feels like they're being targeted unfairly, and they're vowing to keep up the legal fight no matter what it takes. Now for the Suthichai party, the impact is just huge. Political scientist Dr. Stittorn Tananathitchot puts it perfectly. He says the party loses momentum and ammunition. Basically the energy and the money you absolutely need to fight an election. There's a very real risk that politicians might start jumping ship. But there's a potential silver lining here. It really strengthens that victim narrative, which could actually fire up their supporters. The potential damage is just so stark when you look at the numbers. Suthichai had this ambitious goal of winning at least 200 seats in the next election. 200! But now, with their leader's future so uncertain, analysts like Dr. Stittorn are projecting they might only get between 50 and 70 seats. That is a massive, massive drop. It could turn them from a political powerhouse into just another mid-tier party.
All this intense pressure has basically forced the Suthichai party and the whole Shinawatra dynasty into a corner. And now they're facing a really fundamental choice about their future, about their very identity.
They are truly at a crossroads with two very different paths ahead. Okay, path one is what you might call the safe bet. Try to negotiate a deal with their conservative establishment rivals in the blue camp just to make sure they have a seat at the table. Path two is the radical gamble. Join forces with the progressive, reform-minded orange camp and fight for a complete overhaul of the whole political system.
And just look at the risk calculation here. Neither path is a clear win. Negotiating with the conservatives could offer some stability, sure, but it means compromising on their core principles, and they could lose a ton of support from their base. But allying with the progressives? That's bold, but it comes with enormous risks, including the very real possibility of their opponents moving to dissolve the party entirely.
So everything comes back to the man at the center of this storm. From inside a prison cell, Thaksin Shinawatra has to weigh his options and decide the future of his entire political legacy.
I mean, can you imagine? He's got to be thinking about so many things. The timing of these cases, which just seems so politically motivated. The pain his family is going through. The very real chance that his party could just fracture and fall apart. And he has to choose between two completely different futures for Thailand, all while that massive question, was there a special deal for his return, is still just hanging heavy in the air.
Ultimately, it all boils down to this one question. Is he going to fight? Is he going to fold? Or is he going to try and cut some kind of new deal? And his decision isn't just going to determine his own fate. It could literally define the direction of Thai politics for years to come. It leaves an entire nation wondering if this is the end of a dynasty, or maybe, just maybe, the beginning of its most dramatic chapter yet. Thanks for following Suthichai Live English.
Thank you, Ping. So in conclusion, it's an uncertain future for Thaksin, the Shinawatra family, and the Suthichai party. Thaksin and his political dynasty are at a dangerous crossroads, facing what appears to be a coordinated legal and political assault aimed at dismantling their influence. The coming months will determine whether these strategic blows will succeed in permanently sidelining one of Thailand's most formidable political forces. Is this the final checkmate, or it is the beginning of the collapse of the Shinawatra dynasty in Thai politics? Or maybe it could be another improbable comeback on the horizon for Thailand's most enduring political family. Now you have political experts and analysts in Thailand all arguing over which side they take, the winning side or the losing side for Thaksin Shinawatra. That is going to be a hot issue of debate in the coming months for Thailand. Thank you for following Suthichai Live English. Until the next episode, bye-bye.